Good morning, good morning, good morning, my loves. Welcome. Welcome to the very kickoff of our 5-day Rekindle experience. And if you are here, perhaps you follow the Womb Den. I have transitioned back over to my personal account, Olivia Celine _. So the Womb Den account itself is no longer active, but I'm going to be using it for little things like this, where I want to have more of a concise, focused, potent, intentional audience and community gathering, like we're doing for Rekindle. So welcome, beautiful ladies, beautiful women. We're going to kick off Rekindle today. So if you are just someone who follows the Womb Den and hasn't transitioned over to Olivia Celine yet, that's okay. Welcome. You're welcome to sit with us today. The rest of Rekindle will happen in a private group Voxer Chat. It will happen on a group Zoom at the end of the 5 days. And it will happen via emails that I send out daily as well. So if you want to be subscribed to that, you would like to be on that journey with us, there is still time. You can go over to thewombden.com/rekindle, and you can sign up there. And it's free, 5 days, totally free. Take it, leave it, totally up to you. Those who are here, welcome. Beautiful Rachel and Shayla and Amanda and Alexis, lighting my candle. I've been up since 2 a.m. because my little one decided that that's when we wanted to start the day, and he just went down for a nap, so good timing. Can you guys hear me okay? Is my earring affecting sound quality at all? And is the fan that is next to me affecting sound quality? It sounded way too quiet in here, so I turned my fan on, but I don't know if that's distracting. As we begin, I would love to hear from you. And let me know how you're arriving today. How are you landing? Welcome. We are beginning. Oh, you feel that, Shayla? Yes. Yes. I put lashes on. I thought that would help. I've got some coffee. I did some breath work and movement this morning, which is going to be perfect guiding us into what I'll be sharing with you guys later. And yeah, I'm here to be with you. I trust in the times that I don't have the physical energy, that my womb energy and my life force energy and my energetic body and the greater intelligence, the greater divine energy that's constantly supporting us is moving through. And I just allow myself to surrender to it of like, okay, God, take over, spirit, take over, because my physical body as a mother is tired sometimes. I read today that in your first 2 years, there was a study that's done as a new mom, as a new parent, you lose 6 months of sleep in the first 2 years. I was like, Joe, I told him at breakfast this morning, my husband, and he was like, that sounds accurate. Yeah. Awesome. Rachel says, I can hear you. Good. Yes. Okay. All good, babe. Amazing. Essene, no, you are not too late. No. You are here. I am just riffing for a second before we fully drop in and begin. Amanda, I love that. Oh, good. Yes. The energetic body, the beautiful connection we have to something that is so much greater than us, and whatever name you give that, does carry us, because our physical body is human and it has a capacity and it becomes tapped. She becomes tapped. She runs out of resource. But when we can resource from within our own well, our beautiful womb potential, and really that divine cosmic intelligence and connection, it's like something takes over. Like I feel so alive when I sit with you guys in this way. I had to take care of my husband just right at the time of the live. No worries. We are just getting started. You're here in perfect timing. And I will save this replay and it will go out to those who are subscribed to the Rekindle experience. Welcome, April. Welcome. So let's go ahead and begin by just dropping in for a moment. And what I mean by that is just calling yourself present, becoming fully all here now, here with us in this moment, bringing yourself in full presence. And so I invite you to do that through breath, potentially shaking everything out. I was like heating up my coffee and I'm like shaking everything out while it was heating up, and I'm moving and I'm horse lips and I'm like shaking and I'm bouncing, and like that for me sometimes can really kind of move big energy out and really drop me in presence. And feel those beautiful womb gates kiss the floor. So what I mean by that is if you use your hands to pull your bum cheeks out from underneath you, and you feel your anus and your perineum and your yoni kiss the floor, and feel yourself anchored and grounded and present in this time and space here and now. And notice that connection with earth, with the ground beneath you, with that which doesn't move, right? Our energy is constantly in motion, but the gates and the root system of Mother Earth doesn't change. The environment changes, the seasons change, the energy moving within, but that masculine, that divine masculine structure and container and presence is rooted down, and it doesn't move. It's immovable. It is ever present. And so anytime you find yourself, this is a beautiful opportunity. Welcome, my beautiful friend Lauren. Hello. Yes. Anytime you find yourself more up here, you even find yourself more up here, you find yourself spinning, you find yourself spiraling, the beautiful opportunity is for you to simply start to remember and pulling your energy back to the body and back to this moment in time. And how we do that, feel that connection to the earth. Anytime I start to feel like life is happening to me and it is taking over me and I feel out of control, go outside. Even if it's freezing, even if it's raining, if you're able to step outside for a minute, little ones love it. Zeke will go outside any time of day, bare feet, run around. He doesn't care. It's his favorite thing in the world. And so I used to use that as an excuse personally, where I was like, well, it's, raining, and he doesn't care. Oh my God, he loves it. So we go outside, he runs around for a minute, and I just feel my feet, my toes sink into the ground, my heels anchor me in. And I feel that. Or you can sit and again, open up your bum cheeks and feel yourself kiss the ground and feel yourself feeling held. When I step outside and I connect in and down through that root system, and I also then see around me, I recognize how small and how little I am in the grand scheme of life, and not in a way that my energy isn't big and my expression isn't big and I don't have, a voice and I'm not able to do big things, but in the way of like, oh my gosh, I don't have to fear. And I'm hoping Joe will come and let Charlie out, because I told him if Charlie starts to scratch the door, it's on you to come get him, because my dog can't make up his mind. Do I want to be in? Do I want to be out? Do I want to be in? Do I want to be out? Beautiful. Thanks, babe. So anytime I feel this like overwhelm, which is so normal and part of the human experience, and my God, what's happening in the world today can feel increasingly overwhelming, and it feels terrifying. So then we start to hook into that. We start to spin out. We start to become distorted in our view of reality and distorted in our knowingness of our power, right? And our breath. And we start to do this. So when I go outside and I anchor in and down and I really call myself present in my body and I bring consciously and intentionally that energy back to my body, I recognize, oh my God, the universe is so massive. Like the world is immense. And I am this little teeny tiny dot on the map, and I can breathe again. It's like, oh my God, like it's so much bigger than me. The weight of the world, while yes, we carry it in our womb space, and yes, we're going to talk about that, especially over the next 5 days, and especially in homecoming, those who feel called to join that journey and that path after this 5 days, even though we carry that, we are still, it's not all on us. And we have this tendency as women, as like deep caretakers and the nurturers of the village, we feel so deeply, we feel that conviction, we feel that hurt, we feel that suffering, we feel that responsibility, right? And then we stuff it in and down into our womb space, and we wonder, why is my bleed so painful? Why am I not able to connect to my partner during sex? Why am I not feeling able to bring myself pleasure? Why am I burnt out? Why am I feeling depleted? Why am I so exhausted? And it's because the weight of the world is being stuffed down and compounded inside of our wombs, inside of this pelvic bowl. And that gets heavy, and that becomes disease. That becomes issues. That becomes a disconnect. That becomes a disembodiment, because it just feels like too much to hold. And so many of us, we wonder why. So many of us are wanting to numb out, And so many of us are just wanting to like check out and find ways to like explore the cosmos. And while I'm all about, I think it's so amazing, right? Astral travel and timeline hopping and all of these things is so wonderful. And what is the medicine and the gift of the here and the now? Welcome, Hannah. What if we didn't have to leave this moment? What if there was something for us here? What if we could work with what is here? And if we trusted ourselves in that and we held ourselves in that and we met ourselves in that, okay? So rekindle for the next 5 days. And again, if you're not subscribed to it yet, there's still time. Go to thewombden.com. 2 websites is confusing. thewombden.com/rekindle. Sign up, 5 days, totally free. You can unsubscribe from my newsletter afterwards if you don't want to hear from me. I'm not offended. Sometimes it hurts a little, it stings for a second, but then I'm like, it's not personal, and I respect your energetic boundary, obviously. I trust your capacity. But the next 5 days, the whole... Actually, let's start with me introducing myself, because maybe you don't know me, and that's probably important. I'm going to guide you through the next 5 days. Welcome. I am Olivia Rose Celine. I'm really embodying and weaving in the magic and the medicine and the power of my middle name being Rose, because I never recognized the potency and the power that it held as the symbol of the divine feminine, as a beautiful representation of the womb path and of divine love and of the divine feminine. And I'm weaving that in, but I still really also love my last name and what that represents as well. So that's like a whole other conversation. What am I feeling called to introduce myself with right now? Because if you know me, it evolves, it shifts, it expands, and it upgrades over time. And I don't like bios, because I would rather you feel me than logically understand me and then go from there, right? But words and language can matter. So I'm Olivia Rose Celine. I am a mother. I am a mother to a beautiful 14-month-old who reawakened me on like the deepest levels in ways that I didn't know I was looking for and longing for. I am a woman, and I am someone who actually hated being a woman for the majority of my life. I thought it was a curse. That was what I was taught. It is what I was conditioned to believe. And it disconnected me from very early on from the power of my womb, the power of my yoni, the power of my blood, the power of all that lives within me so easily as the feminine, and of that power and that magic and that medicine there. And again, we'll talk so much more about that. I also didn't think I wanted to be a mother. I was like, I don't want to bring kids up in, to this fucked up world, and let's end my bloodline here. And like, let's just cut it off, and like, you're welcome. And as I did deep womb healing for a few years, I remember working with my first healer and coach around this work. And she straight up said, like, do you plan on having kids? And I was like, no. Like, my husband's getting a vasectomy next week, whatever. Like, it was so weird, the timing. Obviously very divine when I look back on it now. And I didn't know her, but she was just like, well, she was like, I mean, you can do what you'd like to do, but I would invite you to wait on that vasectomy if you're okay with that, because I see some stuff. I feel some stuff. And I was like, okay. So we were like, well, whatever. We were young, mid-20s. We're like, whatever, like, we'll just keep doing the good old pull-out method, and, there we go. And I'll keep tracking my fertility, and we'll trust that. And we were like, there's no rush on the vasectomy. So we put that off. And then as I did this womb healing path, and as I continue to, there's so many layers there. Obviously, it's a journey, it's a path, it's a homecoming. I really felt called to become a mother. I can't explain it in words. It was a deep conviction in my body. And I was like, the world is hurting, and there is opportunity here. And what is a legacy that I want to leave? And this isn't everyone's legacy, and everyone's matters. So this is where, again, you come back to your womb wisdom. You know what's for you or not for you. And I was like, I need to bring children through, and they're ready for me to guide them. And then I can pass the torch to them to continue to lead in a new way, a healed way, a sovereign way, far beyond my time here on this planet. So we ended up having Zeke, In the height of the craziness, I found out I was pregnant like the week of lockdowns back in March of 2020, when the world was becoming very much on fire. And it woke me right up. I had to surrender unlike I never, ever, 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 ever thought I could. And in ways I didn't know existed. And I have had to do so ever since. Raising children in this world, I'm sure you mothers can relate, requires a great deal of trust and surrender. A great deal of, it's not up to me. They chose to be here, and I can trust them. I can trust myself. I can trust God, the divine, the universe. And I can surrender to that. And like, what do I need to feel safe in this moment? What can I control in this moment? And what do I need to like give over and give back to the earth and to God, right? Divine feminine, divine masculine, and allow it to, that burden to not be mine to carry. So that's a big aspect of what I do now, and how I've awakened this next level of my work is through becoming a mother and walking through that portal and that initiation. And that is available to all of us, whether we have human children or not. The maiden to mother journey is not tangible. It is archetypal, and it is very much an energetic embodiment. And so I weave a lot of that in. I do birth work. That is a huge, huge, huge passion of mine, obviously, after giving birth, and recognizing the potential there, and learning the history of birth and modern medicine and the patriarchal, unfortunate hijacking of birth from women. And birth is women's work. It belongs to women. It is only women's, and we own it. And I'm really connected to the movement through Radical Birth Keeping and the Free Birth Society, and two of my teachers, Emily Saldea and Yolanda Norris Clark, to continue bringing birth back to women. We are not reckless for running around and birthing our babies. There should be no rules. There should be no regulations. There should be no legislation around it. Fuck all of that. Birth does not belong to men. It does not belong to money. It does not belong to these systems and these infrastructures. It belongs to women. Boom. So birth work and womb work and walking with mothers and walking with wild women in that rewilding and reawakening and reconnection journey, really seeing their womanhood as pure potential, and really having reverence for what it means to be a woman and walk through these different rites of passage. That is my work in a nutshell. So I'm a projector, 6'3" projector for my human design people. I'm a guide, essentially. And I facilitate remembrance, and that's the final thing I'll say about my work in this aspect, and then I'll move into the next piece of today. I facilitate remembrance. Nothing I'm teaching you is new. I am not trying to create a bunch of cookie cutter, copycat versions of me. I am not trying to make you believe what I believe. I am trying to help you remember. And my aim is to help you remember and help you anchor back into your truth and your resonance and your congruence. And it might look different than mine, and that's okay. I welcome difference. I welcome nuance. And I really do have the capacity. It's one of my greatest gifts to sit with the both and to sit with the unknown and to sit with the difference, and knowing we can still relate in that, and knowing that even when we're all on different paths and all with different perspectives and all with different lived experiences, we all have something to learn from each other. We all have something to offer each other. And that's why I love community with other women and gathering with other women, because we're all learning together, and there is medicine in that. This energy here today alone is medicine that we're co-creating. So I thank you for being here. It does mean so much to me. And I do not take this responsibility of guiding you and holding you for the next 5 days and potentially beyond lightly. It is a great privilege and a great honor. And I thank you truly for trusting me in that. So I will constantly be guiding you back to yourself and back to your truth. I'm here to mirror that to you. That is me. I'm a Cancer, Sun, Taurus, Moon, Virgo rising. Lots of Leo, planets in Leo in the 12th house as well. So astrology people, maybe that makes me make a little more sense. Okay. Let's talk about why this work is so important. And I wrote some notes because I was like, there's so much I could say on this, but we would be here all day. So very briefly, if you're new to womb work, or if you're seasoned in womb work, and maybe something within this will plant some seeds of what is possible, and really why, especially when the world is on fire, because it can feel hard. It can feel challenging. Like, I'm busy. I got kids, They got needs. The world is on fire over here. These people are suffering over here. Like, why would I pause? Why would I take time for me? Why would I prioritize womb healing, womb awakening? Like, why would I ever like come back to the body when being in a body can feel hard? It can create suffering. It can be painful. And to what I say to that is also, it can be pleasurable, and it can be blissful, and it can be joyful, and it can be connective, and it can be intimate. Like, we've been conditioned to see being in a body, especially as a woman, especially in the injustice and the inequity, and being a woman in a body beyond being a woman who has a daily lived experience, and experiences the systemic oppression and racism and different aspects there that as a white woman I don't experience, but I do witness clients in that and friends in that and community in that. And I can only imagine. I can't relate because I haven't been there, but I can be an ally and I can witness you in that, and I can actively move through to create change in that, right? And to continue to back and stand by you in whatever way that I'm able to. And I believe that that's by coming back to the body, by coming back to our power, and literally birthing a new way. I don't believe in wasting our energy of trying to burn things down anymore. I have, and sometimes I still go there because I'm human, but I know that that's a waste of my energy. The energy is better spent gathering together, rallying together, and literally birthing a new way by how we show up in our daily lived experience as women, by how we show up to our bleed every month, by how we honor our cycle and the natural rhythm with earth and the seasons as well, by how we do prioritize our joy and our rest and our pleasure, because that is activism in itself, by how we show up to prayer and to meditation, by how we show up to our breath, by how we show up to putting food on the tables. We can weave a new way. We can literally weave these threads. We can birth it. How we show up to birth, how we show up to postpartum, how we show up to our work. We are consistently and constantly having an opportunity to lead a new way within our feminine and within being in our power as women. I very much love men as well, and I respect individual men, especially like obviously my husband and my son, and then others in my life, my father. And I also know because the patriarchy isn't just men. When I'm like, fuck the system and like patriarchy took over, patriarchy is not just men. My friend Marissa and I were talking about this the other day, and we were talking about it in the Radical Birthkeeper school too, of the patriarchy, sure, was like white men, white wealthy men at one point, and then they've conditioned many women to literally water the seeds of the patriarchy through our competition, through hating each other, through trying to take each other down, through having all these negative things to say, through consistently being so obsessed with our outward appearance and therefore hating ourselves, and the diet industry and the beauty industry and all these different things. Like, women perpetuate misogyny, we perpetuate patriarchy almost more than men a lot of the time. And so when I speak about the patriarchy, I'm speaking about the system. It's not men versus women. I'm birthing and envisioning and breathing life into and picturing and pouring into and really and truly leading a collaborative human experience where men and women work in harmony. Back in the day, before patriarchy came in, women were revered, women were respected, women held places of power. Our blood was revered, like we truly were worshipped. Men, the community, were in awe of us. We as women were the healers. We were the midwives. We were the energy workers. We were the plant medicine. We facilitated the healing. We were the wise women of the village, and the whole community knew that and sought after us to lead them and to guide them. Not in this like stomp on men way, but in a way of like we worked together in collaboration and we were equals, truly. Right? So that is the type of earth and village structure and community structure I long for. And I pray that we can create together. And I do believe that how we do that one way is to come back into connection within our bodies, to fully take up our own space, to fully inhabit and occupy the fullness of our body and of our field and of our space, and really being in connection to what it means to be a woman and the power and the magic and the medicine that is there. Will you join me? That's why we're here, right? So why this work is so important. Truly, your womb, your yoni, your pelvic bowl, all of this goodness in here that typically we tend to hate, right? Our bellies and our softness. And it's like, we have a lot of judgment towards this section of our body that actually holds our power as women. We also have our heart portal. We have our throat portal. We have our cervical portal. We have got this whole energetic system that goes from here to here. And we are constantly purifying and alchemizing and birthing and creating and destroying and whatever it might be through that energetic system. However, we also struggle with pain and with suffering and with judgment and with shame and with regret and with guilt and with jealousy. And all of these things create these blockages within our system. So our life force energy that swirls in the pelvic bowl, that swells and swirls here, and it normally wants to move up and out and then back and down. And it's this constant spiral here, our kundalini energy, our life force energy, our prana, our chi, right? Whichever culture lens you look through. What happens then is we have these blockages, and it's like the water can't run in the stream and can't flow in the stream purely. It's going to hit different resistance points. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning, we tend to stuff everything down and it pools here, and I visualize it, and you might see this differently. I visualize it as like this black, sticky, ooey gooey tar like substance that just feels heavy in the womb bowl. And then we wonder, again, why we're depleted and we're burnt out and we're lacking creativity and we're not turned on and we're not having any sort of sexual charge, and we are not connected to that primal aspect of us and that divine aspect of us. We're wondering why our bleeds are painful. We're wondering why, birth hurts and why everything, was destroyed, in quotes, or whatever that might mean. This whole system is the foundation of everything in your life. This is where you show up from. This is where you create from. This is where you love from. This is where you desire from. This is where you're creating anything. And there is the nuance here, 1,000% of the systems that are external that do prioritize certain people above another, and it does create senses of barrier and resistance. And I really want to be very mindful of that, not in a way to inhibit us, but in a way to give acknowledgement to the systems of oppression and the systems that do tend to keep us, create further barrier for us to work through, whether it's sexism or racism and, through class and different things there. And like, that's again, a whole other conversation. And I am not an anti-racist educator because I'm a white woman, and so I don't have the history and the lived experience to speak from that in integrity. However, I do learn about it, and I do work with leaders and with women who have lived it and who can teach me, and therefore I'm able to notice and show up differently. Does that make sense? It's a difficult, touchy, tough topic of subject. Is that what I'm trying to say? To talk about. And I don't have the perfect languaging and I don't have the perfect words, but I do show up vulnerably, and I do show up in being willing to be wrong and course correct from there and have respectful dialogue from there. What I mean by all of it to say is that I just want to be mindful, because typically the manifestation aspect of things can feel very just like, well, just choose that. But like, you can't choose out of oppression. You can't identify out of oppression. Like, there are these layers and we're co-creating. And so it is important to pay mind to things that threaten our very survival. Like, if there is not food on the table, or if there is war happening around us and our basic needs are not being met, it's hard for me to just say, oh, well, just connect to your womb gates and just connect to your yoni and create what you want to see. And you're like, bitch, I'm living in a bomb shelter. Like, So the reason I say this is because I deeply, 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 deeply believe that there will always be suffering in the world. There is suffering in the world. The media tells us what suffering to focus on, but there is suffering in many, many ways all over the globe. It is a shared, unfortunate commonality that we all experience or witness in some way, right? And so in that, and the reason I bring that up is because I believe as women who do have capacity and resource, and I talked about this on my live the other day, to be showing up in a breathwork practice, to be showing up in a somatic experience, to be showing up being able to put their feet firmly in the ground and breathe fully into their body and inhabit their space, who do have the resource and the privilege to be able to pause in the middle of the day and take a beat. Those who do have the ability to free bleed into the earth and give that blood back to Mother Earth, I think that's important that we are keeping in mind the women that don't have access to that for whatever reason and whatever barrier might be presenting itself, and we are alchemizing and purifying for them as well. When one woman is liberated, when one woman heals, we all heal because we are all connected. So if you are here and you have probably a fancy phone, because we're here on Instagram together, and you're sitting in your house and maybe your husband's taking care of your kids and you're just relaxing, you're drinking your coffee and you're here, welcome. What a beautiful gift it is to gather with you and to hold in our hearts and hold in our wombs the women who don't have access to the same. And not from a hero savior complex, because we're not that. Every woman is powerful. But from a space of, when they aren't able to, I will. And when I'm not able to, they will. And we work in a co-creative manner. We work in harmony with one another. And this is not a me-focused, me-centered practice. This is a me within a we. This is an individual within a collective. And when one heals, we all heal. This is an as within, so without. I will heal. I will take responsibility. I will show up for my practice, for my own energy, for my own body, knowing the ripple effect from there will literally breathe life into everything it touches. And this is why, I so highly encourage, even when there is war, there is poverty, there is suffering, there is oppression, there is very injustice and inequity happening all over the world, show up and do your work, take up your space, speak your message, become a leader. Because you hold medicine in your very beingness. You hold medicine in your breath. And the world is aching for that, longing for that. Mother Earth is crying out to us. The Great Mother is asking us to return to reciprocity with her, to relationship with her, to working with her, to having reverence for, instead of extracting, instead of just focusing on here and now. We need to also be focused on the generations that will come after us, right? And be conscious of our creation there. Is this landing? How is this feeling? Let me know in hearts, let me know in comments, let me know what's showing up for you. So that is a very important caveat that I needed to make, because it can feel like, why the fuck would I prioritize my pleasure when the world is literally in flames? It's on fire. What? And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you? Because your pleasure does hold an alchemical medicine. You are alchemizing for the entire collective. Yes. Okay, Shayla says, praise hands. Yes. Hearts, hearts, hearts. Amazing. Thank you. Okay. So your womb holds keys to your pleasure, your aliveness, your sexuality, your sensuality, your life force energy, your orgasm, your creative expression, your unique womb medicine, your anchoring. So yes, why wouldn't we prioritize this connection, right? We are so obsessed with the out there culture that we tend to bypass, and we're taught to bypass, the very in here where our true truth and liberation resides. We've been numbed out, disconnected, disembodied, poisoned, and silenced for generations because they know that this is where our power lives. And us knowing this and reclaiming this is a very threat to the very system that keeps us, oh my God, my whole body is vibrating right now, that keeps us small and weak and sick and broke and afraid and controllable. I'm going to say that again. We have been numbed out for generations, disconnected, disembodied, poisoned, and silenced because they know that the body, the womb, the pelvic bowl is where our power lives. They know that us knowing this and reclaiming this and awakening to this is a very threat to the very system that keeps us small and weak and sick and broke and afraid and controllable. Let that land. Breathe that in. Oh my God, let me take some coffee because wow. Whew. Okay. Every time I attend your sessions, I go through a deep hypnosis meditation mode, which makes me feel fulfilled right after. Oh, I love that. Thank you for that reflection. I've been playing with nourishing myself first in order to give to others, and my world has completely changed. Yes. One thing too about nourishment that I would even invite you to play with is notice next time you're anxious or angry or short-tempered. I find this a lot even in motherhood, especially since becoming a mother. Anytime I find myself like snappier or like don't have as much patience as I would typically like to, I'm hungry. Like I'm literally hungry. And if I eat something, even just like a snack, like put a protein and a carb together or like a healthy fat and a protein together, I feel immediately better. And I'm like able to show up for my kid in a totally different way. So that's something to play with too. I just think we're very undernourished in energetic and spirituality speaking and in very much the physical physiology side of it as well. So again, we constantly stuff everything down. We create stagnancy in the womb, and this creates disease. This creates pain when we bleed. It creates a disconnect and a blockage of our life force energy. We want to create openness and expansion and attunement. And what I mean by that is attuning to, so like literally I picture clairsentient channels, our feeling channels, like these little antennas on the body, and they're faced out a lot of the time where we're scanning for survival. So it's a beautiful, brilliant way that our bodies protect us. But we're constantly in like, oh my God, I need to survive. Oh my God, what's going on? What do they need? Oh my God. And as women, we're conditioned to scan the room and make sure everybody else is okay and make sure, okay, I'm not shining too bright. Okay, she's okay over there. Okay, I'm going to caretake her. Like, oh, I need to go rescue her over there. Oh my God, like she's feeling, and we're constantly doing this. And what I invite you to do is to breathe and imagine those clairsentient channels turning back in and scanning your own body and your own field, becoming attuned to, becoming aware of, tapped into some other language, if that's helpful, to your own needs and your own desires. Welcome, Bobby. Hello, so good to see you here. And knowing your own needs and your own desires, like, oh my God, I'm hungry. Oh my God, I have to go to the bathroom. Oh my God, I'm exhausted. Oh my God, I really am craving friendship and I'm really lonely right now, or whatever it might be. You're attuned to yourself, right? So this openness, this expansiveness, so the energy is able to move. Now, our healing alchemy as the feminine, and what I mean by alchemy is being able to alchemize something. You're able to transmute it, to change it, to shift it, to turn shit into gold, to be able to turn it from this into this, and it is able to dissipate, right? And so what I mean by alchemizing is we're moving it through and we're changing its nature into whatever we want it to be. So something I often say in my prayers and in my practice is, okay, God, I give this over to you to be alchemized, to be transmuted for the highest and greatest good of all. So that when I'm moving this energy that feels dense and heavy in my body, I am trusting that it is changing into something that can actually nourish myself and the collective. It's changing, right? Now, our alchemy as females and as women is through our sound, right? I said the portals of the throat and of the heart and of the yoni and the womb gates. This is all connected. So when we soften and loosen our jaw and we let out an ah or an ah or high, low, whatever. The lower you go, the more connected you're going to feel it in your pelvic bowl. But as you use these different tones and these different sounds, you're literally healing and alchemizing and purifying with that tone and with that sound. Feel the energy of that vibrate through the body. Practice it a couple times even while I'm speaking. Breathing in through the nose. Right? Or maybe you, or you want to sing, or you want to dance and move, and in that way, right? Because sound is alchemical healing. Movement is alchemical healing. Breath is alchemical healing. All of this holds healing power. You can rub your hands together. You can feel the energy there from the friction. That is healing power. Place that wherever it needs to go. And again, as you heal, we all heal. I love to even hold my hands out sometimes, especially in like a group setting, or when one of my intentions is to channel energy through and healing through for the collective and for the suffering of the world and for those who don't have access to this right now. And I will hold my hands out as if I am holding the world. Again, not from a hero dynamic. I am not any more special than anybody else, but I am channeling my intention and my overflow of energy and my pleasure and my healing into the collective. And I am literally imagining myself wrapping the world in a hug. Danielle Laporte talked about it one time on a podcast way back when that I listened to. I think I talked about this on the live a couple years ago, but even when you're like wiping down your counters, can you imagine and set the intention that as I'm wiping down the counters, I'm actually cleaning the dirt and the residue away for the collective? Any of the stagnant energy, I'm washing it away. When I'm drinking a glass of water, can I imagine that that water is actually hydrating anyone that doesn't have access to water? And play with that energy. Because again, we're all deeply connected. I've watched what's happening in Australia, devastating, of these floods, and the government didn't show up, and the military didn't show up for like 5 days. But what happened was the community all came together. The village came together to provide each other with food and with shelter and with water and with safety and with those basic needs. They came together to provide, okay, I can offer energy healing. I can offer massage. I can offer this. And they're working together. And I like cry every time I see these Instagram stories about this, because the media is not talking about it, like external media, but certain people I follow are talking about it. And I am just blown away by the power of people. And we all have access to that, not only within our small local communities, but within the greater community of the collective. It takes an intention and a conscious awareness and devotion too. And that's something we're going to practice over the next 5 days through the Rekindle experience. So finally, is there anything else that I missed here? Yeah, so the 5 days I want us to show up for ourselves from this energy of intention and devotion and seeing what begins to meet us there. There is no agenda. There is no right or wrong. There is no right way or wrong way. There just is. And it all is welcome and it all belongs. And it's going to look different for all of us. Some people are super seasoned and are like, okay, I've been working on connecting with my body for years. Beautiful. Where is this next layer inviting you into? Some people are like, I don't know what the hell this even means. And it's like, I don't feel anything. That's okay. Be with that. What does it feel like to not really feel much of anything? What if that is a communication? And what if that is language in itself? Can you meet yourself there? So I invite you to make this 5 days, these tiny slivers of the day. I invite you to set aside 20 minutes for a practice. If that's not doable, even 5 minutes in the morning before your feet hit the floor. And I know that can be challenging when there's children and there's alarms and there's school and there's husbands and there's things happening. But I invite you to just make it a simple ritual from devotion to yourself, to your highest vision, to your greatest potential, to your truest, most whole self. Pure devotion and ritual and ceremony. What would it look like to be so intentional with this little slice of time? And let it be simple. You might show up to your daily practice and listen to the guided somatic practice I'm going to share with you guys later today. Beautiful. You might have a specific meditation or practice you already do that you would like to continue. Beautiful. You might just want to sit in silence. Beautiful. You might want to be seated. You might want to be laying down. You might want to be moving and dancing and experiencing through movement. You might want to be outside. You might want to be inside. You might want to, don't drive. Don't do this in the car. You might do this with your kids. It doesn't have to be anything overly, sexual or anything there. I mean, it's beautiful when it's private, but there's times where dropping in for a brief ritual of breath and intention, when my child is running around playing on his nugget and I'm just sitting in his room about to lose my shit and I just drop in, like that can be really beautiful as well. So let this be simple. We're just simply starting to open the communication and reconnect relationally with our body, with our vessel, with our womb, with our heart portal, and seeing what is there. And beginning to let her know that we are listening and we are here and we are ready. We are open to her messages. This allows us to tap into our own womb medicine, our own womb wisdom, the innate intelligence that lives within our bodies. It's becoming familiar with these sensations in the body, within the womb, okay? There might be mental chatter, even noticing that. There's nothing wrong with it. It happens. There might be energy swirling, beautiful. But it's us simply starting to show up consistently. And what I mean by consistently is, again, through devotion, not discipline. It's through, I really see it as like this compassionate, gentle, simple moment of pause in the day, whether it's the beginning of the day or the end of the day or in between or all of the above, and really just having that moment with yourself. How does that feel? My inner green and kitchen witches are in this really cool dance together lately, giving back to the earth, growing our food, and providing the nourishment to my family. Oh my God, I'm obsessed. Yes, that is the way. I wrote this a couple days ago and I wanted to read it, of you being turned on, you experiencing immense amounts of pleasure and bliss and euphoria. You being able to meet yourself in the shadows and know what it is that you need. You being sexual and sensual and feeling that Shakti energy rising from your pelvis. You having the capacity to dance even in the eye of the storm. You experiencing deep intimacy. You vibrating with hope and with faith. This is the energy that not only changes the trajectory of our planet, but it restores humanity. And everything that was born out of power and greed and hate and evil will crumble. We will birth a new way. I'm obsessed with everything you've been talking about. Amazing. Oh, I'm so happy, Hannah. That resonance is so real. So my intention for these 5 days, okay, is to not only join you in practice, because I was even just talking to my girlfriend Lauren about this, of like returning to ritual and how present that is in my life right now, of like, show up. Like the days I don't show up, I can feel a complete difference. And so I'm also committing to my practice and to sharing that with you and the little transmissions and ahas that come through. But I also want to hold you in devotion to your daily practice, to showing up for your beautiful body and your beautiful womb, and starting to have those sensations and those communications with yourself. Again, returning you back to you, returning you back to your truth, your goodness, your wholeness, and your wisdom. It's not mine, it's yours, right? So as you are continuing to reawaken this intelligence, right? I'm here to support you. Questions, resistance, frustration, celebration, ahas, connections, like things that are starting to like, it's like, oh, this is weaving these different pieces together for me. I want to support you in that. So you're going to have access to me in a group Voxer Chat. It's not a chat where we're going to be chatting about all the things of the day in it and it's like constantly blowing up. That's not my intention with this space. That doesn't serve anybody's energy. My intention with this space is through the rekindle experience. So what is showing up for you in relation to this experience? It is a place for me to drop in and share little transmissions that come through. As I do, it's one of my favorite things. But it's also for these questions and for these ahas and for this resistance and for whatever is showing up for you in your practice. If you can bring it to the chat and then we can discuss it there and I can pour into you and I can support you and I can maybe reflect something to you. And then it's helping you move through any of that resistance and any of that dissonance so that you can create a little more ease and a little more familiarity and a little bit more confidence so that even beyond the 5 days, whether you join us inside of homecoming or not, you feel confident in continuing your daily practice. Okay? So, yes. Okay. Now, I want you to, and in the welcome email, if you did not receive that, please let me know. But I did put a little practice, a little written practice in there for you to drop in and set your intentions for the 5 days, because that is important, right? It's releasing expectation. It's surrendering to the mystery of it. It's surrendering to your womb's highest vision for you. And it is setting an intention of like, why are you here? Why does this matter? And maybe it's something that I said today that really, really like hit in your bones and in your body. Maybe it is something that like lit up every cell of your being. Maybe it's something that had that deep resonance, or maybe it's something totally different. And that's beautiful. There is no wrong here. I just would love to hear, and you can share it in the comments. You can share it in the Voxer chat. That's really where I would encourage you to share it. If you want to keep it private, you can keep it to yourself. You can email it to me, hello@oliviaceline.com. And I would love to kind of anchor into and hold that vision and that intention with you. Now, over the 5 days, again, many things might show up. Everyone's experience is going to be different. Everyone is showing up from a different starting point, and that is so beautiful and so welcome. And I want to remind you, there is no right or wrong. There just is. There just is. So no judgment. It's only compassion. It's a gentle inquiry. It's a what's going on in my body? What's up with my body today? What's up with my womb today? What is she saying? What is she asking for? What's asking for my attention? And it's starting to just have these like gentle questions and this gentle curiosity within the body and within the womb. Okay, so you might experience super highs, you might experience some lows, there might be some deep grief, there might be some ecstatic pleasure, like it's everything in between, and it is all welcome. And holding yourself in that and asking for support in that from me, from your sisters who are in this group chat. We are all walking this path together. Okay? Now, I feel like this might kick me off at an hour, so I'm trying to figure out what else I want to say, and then the rest will be in an email. You do get out of this what you put into it, okay? So radical self-responsibility for your experience, communicating what you need. I don't know. I am not a mind reader, and I do not tap into people's energy without consent. So although, yes, intuitively I can pick up on things, I don't like consciously tap in and like explore your energy, because I think that's very violating, and that's not okay with me at all in any way, shape, or form. So you have to communicate. Please ask, name, claim what it is that you need or what you're wanting. Everyone is different, and I am here to meet you there, or to offer support in a different way, because it is going to be, I mean, depending on how many people join the group chat, there are about 40 people signed up. And so I can't be everyone's one-on-one coach, but I have the group chat as a way for us to stay connected, and what one woman might share might awaken something in another woman. There might be resonance there, and we're, again, all healing and working and moving together. So ways to set yourself up, I suppose, for sacred ritual is important. Again, if you're able to do this without children around, without like screaming in the background, I mean, that can be cool, because you can practice being able to like stay present even in a storm, even in chaos. And I think that that's important for a daily lived experience in a chaotic world, is being able to remain calm and grounded, even when everything around us could be really triggering potentially. And I think there's something so beautiful when you're like, okay, husband gets home, here's the kids, I got to go step away for a second. You take 15, 20 minutes to go outside if you feel safe outside. If you've got like maybe, like I have a backyard with lots of big bushes, so I feel pretty safe back there. Otherwise, I'll go into my bedroom and I'll just lay down, or I'll start to move. I'll put my headphones in and I just breathe and I do my practice. It doesn't have to be fancy, but I do encourage, if you're able to get away for a minute and have that moment to yourself. I'm doing it in the bath, if that feels safe. I mean, don't drown. That's kind of scary. Like if you go really into a deep hypnosis, whatever, you know yourself, you know what feels safe for you. And I trust you with that. You're an adult. I love candles. I love crystals. I use a lot of like herbal tinctures. So this is a Tulsi elixir from Subluna Botanicals. I don't get anything from her. Ariel Martinez, I think is like her last name. This is a heart opener, so I took that even before this, and it just helps me soften and open through plant medicine. Not anything like, what am I trying to say, hallucination-wise or anything that disconnects me. It actually drops me deeper into my body, working with the plants and working with nature in that way. What else? Some people use essential oils. I personally work with whole plant medicine now, but beautiful. I love anything that makes me feel cozy and like plush and just really like soft, really feminine. Wearing socks, if you're able to. Actually, wearing socks is a great and beautiful way to keep your womb warm. Warm feet, warm womb. Really great if you're bleeding, helps keep the blood warm. Drinking warm, nourishing drinks is during that as well, and warm, nourishing foods keeps the blood able to move, versus if we drink a lot of cold stuff or we're cold in our body, it can kind of make the blood, what is that word, coagulated? Is that the word I'm looking for? Clotted a little bit, which can make it more painful. So that's something to feel into during birth as well. So those are some ways that you could, I mean, there's so many, I could keep going, but those are a couple that are coming to me right now. And again, I only have 4 minutes if it cuts me off. So we'll keep moving. The logistics, 20 minutes a day for 5 days if you are able to. I will send the practice out to your email tonight, and you will have that for tomorrow if you would like to use it. The group Voxer Chat, the link to join us is in the welcome email. If you did not receive it, or if you're having trouble finding it or trouble getting to it, message me on Instagram at @OliviaSaline_ or email hello@oliviasaline.com. I will help you get that figured out, and we'll get that. It's a free app, Voxer. It's like a little orange guy, and it's like a talk and text thing. And you should be able to get it internationally. I have never had an issue there. We have our live stream today, obviously. Hi, welcome. And then we will have a group Zoom on the 10th, I think it's a Thursday, to end together at 8 p.m. Eastern for about an hour, hour and a half or so. And that's where we'll sit, and I'll actually be able to see you guys, which I'm really excited about, and share our takeaways and really kind of create a sense of completion for the group. And for the 5 days that we walked together. If you are wanting to be like, okay, 5 days isn't enough, I want to keep going, and I highly encourage that, and would love to have you. Homecoming is the 3-month journey that's like this times a million that begins on the spring equinox. So on March 20th, presale pricing is through the end of this Rekindle experience, and then the price goes up. I do have payment plans available as well, and it is where we will be going deep, deep, deep into the Womb Awakening book that is like a Bible to me. And I'll be assigning reading. I don't know if we'll read the whole thing because there's a lot, and there's a ton of history and different folk tales and fairy tales and different cultures and such, and how the womb shows up in all of that, and how it really is the thing that connects all of us, because it shows up in every single culture in some way, and the power of the womb. And it's really, really like a book of returning to that power within, and really reawakening that creative potential and that possibility. So we're going to go into that so fucking deep for 3 months together, starting at the end of the Rekindle. March 20th is when we'll go into that. So we will end together March 10th. You'll have access to me in the group Voxer. If something is private or you're not really comfortable sharing it publicly in the group chat, you can email me, hello@oliviasaline.com. And I really invite you to bring it into the group. What happens in the group stays in the group, and it's a beautiful way, again, for as one woman shares, it might really ring true for someone else as well. And again, we're all able to heal together. And I understand the sensitive nature, but this is not, unfortunately, one-on-one coaching, because only have so much capacity, and one-on-one coaching is so much more intimate and intensive than like a free 5-day group experience can be. There's just a difference there, and I hope that makes sense, and I hope you feel my heart in that. So, okay, there is that. I have not gotten a notification yet, so I'm going to keep going. Let's see. Does anyone have questions as we start to wrap up here? Even if you do not bleed, even if you do not plan on having babies, even if you think, my fertility or like my womb space or, my connection to my womanhood in that way doesn't matter, or it's not relevant, I'm here to tell you that it is. As women, we will all contend with our fertility in some way. It is a fact of life. We all came through. 2 minutes left. Oh my God, it's going to cut me off. Message me on Instagram if you do have questions that I wasn't able to get to. But we all come through the womb of a woman. Every single one of us. It is the fact of life. And so there is so much healing and so much available to us there. No matter if we bleed still, no matter if we care about our bleed, no matter if we, birth our babies or we're not birthing babies or whatever in between, we all face our fertility in some way. And fertility is actually one of the vital signs of aliveness and of vitality and of wealth and health and well-being. And is something we need to be so conscious of and so mindful of. Again, we've been taught that it doesn't matter unless you want babies. But it does. And it's a way for them to keep us disconnected and numb to our own power. So we are starting. Welcome. We have begun. Let's take in a big breath. And let it out. Shake it out. Take in a breath again. And out. And again. And out. Right? The cosmic womb, the upper world, the inner world, our own womb, our own heart portal, and then the underworld and Mother Earth. Those 3 breaths, connecting all of it, connecting all of us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on this path. Thank you for being willing to walk this path with me and with each other. I see you. I honor you. I truly bow to you in so much reverence and so much awe. So much love to you. Many, many blessings to you. And I'll see you guys over the next 5 days. Have a good day.